Flow. We'll get going in about 4 or 5 minutes. Grabbing your water bottle, grabbing your mat, grabbing whatever else is good for you as we practice classic hour-long class. I think the focus will be on the crane pose and what was the other one? Oh, the swan, otherwise known as the pigeon pose. Cool. So we'll see you in just a few minutes. Well, welcome everyone. It's a foggy morning here in San Francisco. I'm looking out towards the Bay Bridge and I can barely see its various stanchions. It's almost like a ghost bridge out there. Anyway, hopefully the sun will break through at some point. But anyway, right now we've got morning flow. I think in a couple minutes we'll be joined by my wife Kathy, but we can get going. So let us start seated. I'm going to adjust the screen. So as you sit on the floor, feeling free to grab a pillow. It's always useful to be able to tilt the pelvis a little bit. We call it anterior tilt, a frontal tilt. So you try to find at least a sense of the back of your sits bones as opposed to the front of the sits bones with a rounded low back. So a pillow is often useful to get that anterior tilt. I'll suggest my favorite sit, which is a cross-legged sit. There are other ways to sit. So if you prefer to sit some way else, go for it. The idea is we want to have a solid, steady base. From that place we can find our spine. From that solid and steady structure, we can relax our shoulders, long through all sides of the neck, with a slight tuck of the chin as we start to take our attention inward. And I'll invite you to begin just by watching your breath as it flows in and as it flows out. Arriving here on our yoga mats and our yoga floor, ready for a morning yoga practice. From this place of just observing your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of the chest, the base of the belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. And as you breathe out, I'll encourage you to draw the low belly in and up towards the heart as we squeeze a little more air out, also providing structural support for our low back in any of our shapes, in any of our sequences. To this deeper, fuller breath, I'll invite you to move towards the Ujjayi or ocean breath, a slight constriction of the base of the throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of the Ujjayi breath be a focus for your practice, always coming back to that sound and feel, often compared to the sounds of the waves of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. To this Ujjayi breath, I'll invite you to find Jiva Bandha, tip of the tongue to the hard palate, just behind the teeth, trying to keep that connection throughout the practice, keeping us from clenching our jaws and grinding our teeth, something that I personally tend to do when I'm working hard. And in some of these shapes, particularly the crane, I will be working hard. So I just have to find that Jiva Bandha, and it's a way to remind myself to keep the jaw relaxed. Now adding a slight smile to your face, but still breathing in and out through the nose. Relaxing or opening up the front of our throat, giving our breath lots of room to work, to refresh, to revitalize. Keeping all this, if you closed your eyes, I'll invite you to open your eyes. And let's stretch out our low back with a twist to each side as we bring left hand by left hip. Right hand catches the top of the thigh. Let an inhale grow your spine tall. And finding your twist, either looking straight ahead, off to the side, or over that back shoulder. With every inhalation, sitting up a little taller. With every exhalation, finding a little more twist, even if it's just on an energetic level. Now letting an inhalation bring you through center, right hand by right hip, left hand catches the top of the right thigh. Let an inhale grow your spine tall. And then on the exhale, finding your twist. Finding a drishti or eye focus that works for your body, your breath, your spine, your neck, your energy level at this hour of the morning. Now letting an inhale bring you through center. And let's find a forward fold. So I'll invite you to spider your fingers. So we've got those spider fingers. We spider, 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 spider as we hinge at the hips. And either staying here in neutral spine or going a little bit further. And you might pace the palms down as we round the spine, taking 2 or 3 long, slow breaths into back heart. From this place, I'll invite you to spider your fingers back as we reclaim neutral or tall spine. And then let's reverse the cross of the legs. Other leg front, other leg back. Take a breath to set the shape as we bring hands under our knees, pulling back with the hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. And again, a slight tuck of the chin as we return our attention back inward, just watching our breath as it flows in and out. And if you've added that Ujjayi component, that watching of the breath has other facets, feel facet, sound facet. From here, let's twist it again both ways. As we bring left hand by left hip, right hand catches the top of the thigh. Let an inhale grow your spine tall, and then finding your twist. That's a beautiful boat on the bay there. It's a ghost boat right now. You can barely see it. Letting your next inhale bring you through center. Right hand by right hip, left hand catches the top of the thigh. Let an inhale grow your spine tall, and then finding your twist. Letting your inhale bring you through center. And let's find that forward fold with crossed legs as we spider our fingers front, hinging at the hips. And when you can't hinge anymore, either staying in neutral spine back at the head in line with the sacrum, or taking a little bit further. And in either case, I'll invite you to pace the palms down as we take 2 or 3 long, slow breaths into back heart. Now tucking the chin, walking the hands back in. From here, let's lose the cross of our legs, 2 long legs in front. Let's give our knees a little love and consideration as we take a hand on each side. Fingers find the back of the knee, exploring that place. How often do you consider that part of your body? Probably not very often. And then letting the muscles of the knee be relaxed as we give that kneecap a little wiggle, encouraging a little more circulation, a little more prana into the connective tissues that keep our knees stable. Second side, we've got a hand on each side, a little bit of warmth. Now fingers find the back of the knee. And then giving that kneecap a little wiggle. From here, let's find an all fours position upon our mat or floor. I'll go sideways here so you get a better perspective here. As we've gone down in an all fours position, I'll invite you to find lots of space between each finger and then a little more press between the thumb and the forefinger as you draw the energy up from the floor. From here, starting the cat-dog combo. Breathing in, lifting chin and tail. Breathing out, tucking toes, tucking tail, tucking chin as we draw it in. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding it in. One more time like this, breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it in. Let's throw child's pose into the mix. Breathing in, lifting chin and tail. And then big toes touch, sits bones back to the heels as we round the spine. Inhaling, finding the arc. On the exhale, finding the arch. One more to go, breathing in. And breathing out, rounding it back. Let's take it side to side. Breathing in, lifting it up. On the exhale, drawing it back towards one heel. Inhaling, lifting it up. Welcome, Kathy. Exhaling back towards the other heel. A couple more times each way. Feel free to join in when you feel ready. Exhaling back. Inhaling, lifting it up. Exhaling, drawing it back. One more time each way. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, drawing it back. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, drawing it back. Let's add a figure 8 to our mix. Breathing in, lifting up. Kathy is the director of the mix here in San Francisco. Keep the hips low, other hip. Up on the diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips and back to first heel. Finding that second heel. Up on the diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips. And back to a heel. One more time this direction, breathing in. And breathing out. Now we'll take it the other way. Up on the other diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips and back to second heel. Inhaling up. Exhaling, rounding it back. One more to go this direction, breathing in. Breathing out, taking it back. And then back to an all fours position, feet hip width apart. From here, let's circle the hips for 1, 2, and 3. We'll take it the other way for 1, and 2, and 3. Now working a figure 8 for 1. One hip chases the other, 2, and 3. Taking the figure 8 the other way for 1, and 2, and 3, and back to center. From here, let's get to our down dog with the cat dog stretch as we walk the hands just a little bit forward, wrists in front of elbows, elbows in front of shoulders, eyes of the elbows face loosely in. Reaffirming that press of the hands into the floor, drawing the energy up from that place between the thumb and the forefinger, shoulders engaged. Taking a breath to lift chin and tail. And now tucking the toes as we tuck tail and chin, rounding the spine, tailbone high, high, high. And then finding neutral spine as you push into the hands to stretch those heels down. As we hold this first down dog of our practice, I'll invite you to walk the dog, bending one leg deeply as you ground down to the opposite heel, and then stretching it out the other way. And then freely moving back and forth between the sides, just seeing how your body feels this morning, what feels tight, what feels right, what feels somewhere in between. Let's adjust. We'll go standing perspective, make sure we can still see Kathy. I'm just adjusting the screen. So if you walk the dog, I'll invite you to come back towards stillness, long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. And even though overtly we're still, there's still a lot going on. We're breathing, our heart's beating, our mind's moving. And by holding the pose and just focusing on your breath, trying to find a little more space between each breath, each beat of the heart, each thought, and then breathing into that space. From our down dog shape, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Think cat-dog stretch as we lift chin and tail. On the exhale, folding again as we round the spine. Inhaling, finding neutral spine, arms out to the side as we hinge at the hips, rising on up. I'll suggest a little back bend at the top, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, hands by our side. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, a light press of the thumb against your sternum as we line up each finger, letting your weight collect in your feet. From here, hands by our side. Let's challenge our balance a little bit. I'm going to adjust the screen a little bit as we bring our feet right together, squeezing the inner thighs tight. From here, let's find a side bend each way. Left hand by left thigh, right hand up and over, and then taking a side bend to the left and holding for a couple of breaths. As we hold this shape, breathing into your ribs, finding a little more space in your thoracic spine, that mid-back where the ribs are. Now letting your inhale bring you through center, right hand by right thigh. We take left hand up and over the head and finding your side bend. And by working this narrow stance, it's all about the spine. The hips can't really play too much. Now letting an inhale bring you through center. Let's find a clasp with the fingers behind the back, shoulder blades backing down onto rib shelf, open heart, open throat, and then leading with the heart, minding your balance as we find a forward fold, and then rounding the spine, hands up and over the head, shoulders up and back towards the hips, as we relax the neck and heavy the head. And I find this challenging with this narrower stance. Now to come up, I'll suggest a strong tuck of the chin, lots of core engagement as we bring it on up. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, releasing the clasp of the fingers. Feel free to do this with me. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Ears, shoulders, hips over heels. Surya Namaskar, just to warm it up a little bit, and then we'll move through some standing sequences. Let an inhale, bring the arms up and over the head. On the exhale, leading with the heart as we fold. Take a breath to bring shins, our hands onto knees, knees push into hands, hands push into knees as we lift chin and tail. On the exhale, rounding the spine as we catch the back of the calves. From here, grounding down through two hands, and I'll suggest on this first Surya Namaskar, just stretching it back or walking it back to your down dog. As we hold this second down dog of the practice. Again, I'll invite you to walk the dog, bending one leg deeply and then the other. Just stretching it out, connecting with your feeling body. And of course, breathing, watching that breath, and enjoying your reflection upon that breath. I got a comment. Let's see what my comment says. Welcome, welcome, welcome. From this place of movement back towards stillness. And on the tail end of your next breath, looking between your hands as you step, or maybe try a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. Adding vinyasa if you haven't already. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding, grounding down through the hands and either finding your down dog or cycling through yoga push-up, chaturanga. Inhaling into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And then exhaling back to your down dog. And holding. Other options, And with the lifted screen, you can't really see me fully. Might be a child's pose. As you send sits bones back to the heels. I've already played with that a little bit. Whether you're in down dog or child's pose, two great places to breathe into back heart. Wherever you are, always feeling free to stay there. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding. Inhaling, riding the breath up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one Surya Namaskar B. It starts with a chair pose, knees over toes, hands over head, inhaling. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. I'll invite you to find a little back bend at the top, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. As we hold down dog, flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. The right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Now looking between the hands, bringing that right foot on through, landing it lightly as we spin the back heel down. Hands can always find the hips. And then up and over the head for our warrior one. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge as we spin back heel up. And then back to down dog as you will, either stretching straight back or cycling through. Vinyasa, yogi's choice. From down dog shape when you're ready. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. And then looking between the hands, sweeping that left foot on through. Landing it lightly as we spin that back heel down. Arms up and over the head, front leg bent. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Again, take your time. Find your flow. And as we hold down dog or child's pose or whatever pose you've chosen, coming back to that even breath, the Samarvriti. Same vritti sounds like wave, kind of, if you look at it in print. So the same wave, so equal inhalation, equal exhalation. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Looking between the hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Whoops. Stay low as we find our chair. Taking it lower, more strength in our legs. And then rising on up, little back bend at the top. Exhaling, neutral spine. I'm going to allow you to bring hands to heart. And either keeping that light press of your palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding an isometric engagement as we press the palms together, elbows wide, shoulders engaged. I'm going to allow you to tuck tail and chin as we find strength in our center. And then hands by our side. From here, let's bring hands on hips as we step or maybe jump our feet hip width apart. On the inhale, arms out to the side. On the exhale, we'll bend the knees as we cross the arms in front. Now switching the cross. And let's do 6 of these. Couple more each way. One more each side. And then back to center and down. From here, let's either step or jump ourselves back in, thin like a pin. From here, finding a chair pose. Taking our chair lower. Now finding the power chair, Ardha Utkatasana. From Ardha Utkatasana, I'll invite you to play with a jump back as we ground down through 2 palms. The hips stay high as we unfold our legs back to the top of a push-up. And then either stretching back to down dog or cycling through vinyasa. Yogi's choice. Always finding that balance between your effort and your ease. From here, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high for the three-legged dog. High on the left toes. Now I'll invite you, without overly disturbing the shoulders, to stack the hips, lifted leg straight. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. And then looking between your hands as we sweep right knee towards right wrist. The knee joint stays closed as we find a pigeon pose. Let me adjust the screen here for the floor work. In our pigeon pose, I'll invite you to shine the pigeon as we bring our shoulder blades back and down, open heart, open throat, very similar to the swan dive we did before. And then leading with the heart, swan diving as we walk our hands forward, arms in extension, and then letting everything relax as your forehead comes onto the floor. Now, if your forehead doesn't easily come to the floor, rather than having the arms in extension, you might find a cross of the forearms. And then another option, a friend of mine used to call these potatoes. One soft fist rests on top of the other. So you want to give that third eye, kind of just above your two actual eyes. It's your center of intuition, the sixth chakra. You want to give that a little stimulation. So that can either be the floor with the arms in extension, the crossed forearms, or the potatoes. As we hold this swan, this pigeon pose, I want you to gently rock your hips from side to side. And then from this place of movement, moving back towards stillness. And just letting everything settle for a breath. From here, with the arms in extension, we can walk the hands back if they're not in that place. Just coming back to this place on our forearms with the fingers spread wide. Make sure you can see that. From here, let's take a twist to each side. So first, let's twist away from the bent front leg as we make our forearm parallel to the top of our mat, left hand off to the side, and then we pull back with that forearm as we turn our heart towards that left hand. Sacrum's pretty stable in this shape, so if you want to traction it a little bit more, pretty safe place for your SI joints. Having said that, any tweaks, any twinges, definitely back off. You don't want to mess with your sacrum. It's a sacred bone. It needs to be respected. From here, let's come back center and let's find the other forearm. So other forearm parallel to the front of your mat or your body, outrigger hand, and we pull back with that forearm as we stretch out our low back. Now let's bring ourselves back center. Let's come back onto our fingertips. We got lots of room for our spine to grow, shoulder blades back and down. From here, testing out the integrity of our center, if you choose. If this isn't right for you, don't do it. If your knee is killing you, you probably shouldn't do this particular shape of the swan. You could always do it on your back. Most of you probably know the figure 4 shape. So that would be a great option for that one. Shoulder blades back and down, testing our center as we lift one hand. We lift the other. Maybe we lift both hands, and it's like you're zipping up that place between the perineum and the navel as we float the hands, and maybe we stretch those hands high. High hands, if they went there, can come back to the floor. We want to ground down solidly through 10 fingers. We can tuck the back toes. We can lift that right leg high, and I'll invite you to give it a shake, releasing any congestion. Sometimes with those closed joints, they get stiff, chasing that stiffness away, and then grounded down through 2 hands, 2 feet. We've got long legs, long arms, long spine, deep, full breath. And again, a lot of times we can hold these poses in stillness and see what comes up. I always like to walk it, to shake it, to swing it, to sway it. Again, I find that's more useful as a connector to my feeling body. I'll talk Kathy through this. Second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky for that three-legged dog. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, lifted leg straight as we stack the hip. Now bending that top leg, opening up that left hip. And then looking between the hands as you sweep that left knee on through. And I'll suggest keeping the knee joint closed. We can walk that right leg back. You might need to adjust it a little bit. I like to use the heel to support that far hip. Those of you that are farther away, you might stick a pillow under, is too far away to reach right now, but you might stick a pillow under that glute. I like to unfurl the back foot. That means we find the tops of the toes. I find that it's a nice stretch for my ankle, also a little more stable in the shape. From here, we can shine the swan, shine the pigeon, shoulder blades back and down, open heart, open throat, and then trying to keep that arc to the back as we lead with the heart in a forward fold. If your forehead can easily find the floor, I'll suggest arms in extension. If that's not something your body does, which is totally cool, cross of the forearms. And then even if my body does all these other things, sometimes the potatoes, that pair of soft stacked fists, feels really, really good. And it's actually a nice, it's a way to really focus on that third eye, that sixth chakra. And just breathing into that place as we wake up our intuition. That's what the sixth chakra is, how we know things without knowing that we know them. Wherever your hands are, I'll invite you to come to forearms. And again, we want to shine the swan with forearms, shoulder blades back and down. We melt the heart forward. And then we'll take a little bend towards that bent front knee, or twist rather, as we find a parallel forearm, outrigger hand, and we pull back with the forearm as we find our twist. And again, you can add that traction action or not. You might even pulse it a little bit. Like wiggling a key in a lock, getting that lock to spring open. Or fumbling with a shoelace, trying to get a stubborn knot to untie. I just got a little crack. It was a good crack. If you have any bad cracks, definitely back off. We'll find that twist the other way. Other forearm, other outrigger hand, pulling back with the forearm as we find our twist. Now we'll come back center, and I'll suggest finding the fingertips just to give our spine a little more room to grow here. Shoulder blades back and down. And then I find this can be really, really intense. So make sure your knee wants to do this. Make sure your body wants to do this. As we float one hand, maybe we float the other. Maybe we see what two hands float feels like. And then stretching those hands high. And you want to feel that zipping up of that low belly place. That's your center of balance. From here we can spin the palms out, grounding down solidly through 10 fingers, tucking the back toes, lifting that left leg high for a three-legged dog. I'll invite you to give it a shake, just releasing any stiffness that may have crept into that knee with the weight of the body and that closed knee joint. And then grounding down through 2 feet, 2 hands, long arms, long legs, long spine. And again, either holding your down dog in stillness, maybe walking the dog from side to side, maybe cycling through vinyasa. And let me adjust the screen for our standing sequence here. Awesome. Let's see what time it is. Make sure we got enough time to do all the fun stuff. Plenty of time. From here, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, right leg high to the sky for the three-legged dog. From here, I'll invite you to find a dragon dog as we bring knee to nose to knee, shoulders over wrists, and then inhale it up. A couple more times. Exhaling forward to your dragon dog. Inhale it up. Exhale it forward to dragon dog and hold for a half breath. Inhale. And on your next exhale, stepping that right foot through, landing it lightly, spinning the back heel down. We'll bring hands to hips for warrior one prep. Let me go sideways. We'll see where I don't want to obscure. Let me do it this way. There. See both of us here. In our warrior one prep, longer in the stance if appropriate for your body this morning, as we scoot that back foot back. From here we can bring hands under our shoulders. We can find a clasp of the fingers behind the head, open heart, open throat. And then I'll invite you to find a tray in front. From here, breathing in as we gather up the energy. On the exhale as we offer it out. And let's do that a couple more times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out, finding this shape and holding for a breath or two. We can bring the elbows back, the hands come with, feel the stretch in fourth and fifth chakra, heart and throat, community and communication. From here, let's turn warrior one into warrior two as hands find the heart. We open up the hips to face side wall. We can narrow the stance and then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. This one always looks good when both of us face. From here, let's paint rainbows. Breathing in, straightening front leg. Exhaling. Breathing in, breathing out. One more to go, let's hold. Let's paint the rainbow and hold. As we reach up a little higher, we creep that back leg down, back thigh. Breathing into your armpit, breathing into that front line. And then back to our warrior two. From here to triangle, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib, deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. I'm a little teacup, short and stout. Grounding bottom hand down on shin, we can set that top shoulder, we can stretch hand high, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky. Nice. If you wanted to ground your thumb on your shin bone, Kathy, so it looks like that. Yeah, you need a little more openness on that bottom shoulder. Nice, beautiful. The other thing I might suggest is really focusing on that connection between big toe and little toe as you draw the energy up the inseam of the legs. Nice. From here, let's explore our lateral top line as we exhale that top hand front, turning our heart to the floor. Inhaling, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. A couple more times. Exhaling and inhaling. Exhaling, I'll invite you to hold this shape, pushing into the back foot. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And now the bottom hand joins. We take that twist out of the torso. Pure side motion. We breathe 2 hands up. And exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. One more to go. 2 hands up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach, reach, reach. I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. And then moving towards the half moon as hand finds the hip. We step the back foot in. Right hand off to the right. Finding your base, I'll suggest, well off to the right for a wider base. You could always challenge yourself as you get better at the shape. Lifting back leg, setting the shoulders, stretching hand high, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky with that mixture of effort and ease. From here, challenging ourselves a little further if you choose. On the exhale, we can make it small like a ball. As we bend front leg, we can make a fist with the hand. On the inhale, we can lift it up tall. A couple more times. Small like a ball, exhaling. Inhaling, lifting it tall. Exhaling, small like a ball and holding. Breath in. Breath out. And then inhale it tall, maybe spinning the face to look up. And then hand finds the hip. We bend the standing leg, back foot low as we find our warrior two. And then I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms as we find low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Deep, full breaths. From down dog, we'll move towards our second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart, left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Now finding your dragon dog as you bring knee to nose, nose to knee, shoulders over wrists, and then inhale it up. Exhale it forward. Inhale it up. This last one will hold. Exhale it forward. Inhale and hold. And then on that next exhale, trying to get that left foot right between the hands as we spin the back heel down. Finding our warrior one prep as hands find the hips. From here, if it's right and appropriate for you this morning, shifting weight onto the front foot as we lengthen our stance. From here, we can bring hands onto the shoulders, squaring the shoulders front. Finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, and you might find that other clasp of the fingers. Open heart and throat. And then finding a tray in front, breathing in as we gather in the energy. On the exhale as we offer it out. 2 more times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And I'll invite you to hold this shape as we feel the stretch. Elbows move back, hands come with, wiggling those fingers. And then turning 1 into 2 as hands find the heart. We open up the hips. You might narrow the stance. And then finding 1 long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a mixture of effort and ease. Beautiful. From here, painting rainbows. Inhaling and exhaling. A couple more times. Breathing in. Breathing out. Now let's hold this last one. Breathing in. We reach up higher. That back hand creeps down just a little bit further. Breathing into that front line. Feeling the stretch in your armpit. Feels so good. And then back to our warrior 2. Transitioning to Trikonasana, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip.
What about the forward fold?
We didn't do it.
Oh, we didn't?
We didn't do it on the first side.
Oh.
That's the old sequence. This is the new sequence.
Okay.
We're going right to triangle.
All right, got it.
Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening the crease, lengthening the ribs. And then we'll ground bottom hand down. We'll set the top shoulder. We'll stretch hand high, either looking down to the ground off to the side or up to the sky.
See, I have muscle memory for your other sequence.
I try to mix it up a little bit just to keep it interesting and keep people on their toes.
You did get me on my toes.
And again, I want to make this adjustment here. So I like to line my thumb along with the shin bone, and that way the bottom shoulder opens up a little bit more. And the other thing is we're going to move towards that half moon eventually. So you want to find your feet even before we get there. So 2 feet's easier to find than 1 foot. So on that front foot particularly, you want to ground down between the second and big toe. It's kind of equivalent in the down dog shape to grounding down here. So we draw the energy up the inseam of the leg. From here, let's explore that lateral top line as we exhale that hand front, turning our heart to the floor. Inhaling, lifting, hand high as we spin heart to sky. A couple more times. Exhaling and inhaling. Exhaling and holding, pushing into that back foot. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Bottom hand joins. We take that twist out of the torso. We breathe 2 hands up. And exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach, reach, reach. I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. And then moving towards Ardha Chandrasana as hand finds the hip. We step the back foot in. Left hand off to the left. And again, I like a nice wide foundation, particularly if you're just learning the pose. And then as you get better at it, you could always challenge your balance as you make that square a little less square. Lifting back leg, opening that top shoulder, stretching hand high, either looking down off to the side or up to the sky with that mixture of effort and ease. From here, challenging your balance with breath and movement. I'll invite you to make it small like a ball and inhale it tall. Exhale it small like a ball. Inhale it tall. Let's hold the next one. Exhale it small like a ball and hold. Breath in. Breath out. And then inhale it tall. If you've never looked up, spinning the face to look up. Awesome. And then hand finds the hip, back foot low, grounding that back foot down, coming back to our warrior 2. And then I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms as we stretch out our shoulders and back to down dog as you will. Deep full breaths. From our down dog shape, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath, define length. Exhaling, folding. This time let's hold the forward fold as we toe heel our feet wide, softening the knees, catching opposite elbows, and just gently swaying your body from side to side. Now switching the cross of the elbows, keep swaying side to side. And let's do our low backs a solid here as we come center. Hands find the thighs as we roll ourselves up with the chin tucked. We push into the thighs for the assist. Lifting the chin tall through the crown. Again, feel free to do this with me. It's like I always feel like a kindergarten teacher, but it's very, very useful in terms of our posture. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Ears, shoulders, hips over heels. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, either keeping that light press of the palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding that isometric engagement as we connect with the strength of our center. And then hands by our side. So if your feet aren't hip width, I'll say either toe heel them or jump them that way. Everyone should be there, I think. Soft knees here. On the inhale, we're going to bring our arms up to one side. On the exhale, we pass through center as we bend the knees. Inhaling other side. Let's do 6 of these. You might let that breath whoosh out through the mouth. You might give those wrists a little bit of a little whip. A couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up and hands by our side. So let's keep the feet wide. Let's actually go a little bit wider. And I'll invite you to angle the toes out. You can probably see Kathy's toes. You can't see mine. I'm going to rock it into half squat here as we bring our hands on our hips and we start to rock it on down. Now when you find your half squat, make sure your knees want to be where they are. We can bring our knees over our heels. Elbows find the inner thighs as hands find the heart. And as we hold this half squat, I'll invite you to keep rocking it from side to side. So if you want to play with the crane pose, I'm going to demo it now. Feel free to play a little bit. Those of you that just want to stay in your squat, lots of good leg work to be done. Otherwise, we ground down through 2 hands. And I'll invite you to try to get your knees into your armpits. If you can find that deep of a forward fold and you can park the knees in the armpits, you won't have to hug the midline as hard and you can stack the bones. If you work a little bit lower than the armpits, you might feel a lot of pressure, which is okay. It might leave a bruise if you're not used to the shape. Another way to do it is to bring the knees to the upper arms. And I always think of a nutcracker in that version. You really almost feel like you want to try to break your arm bones. Don't do it. But you have to hug in that hard to keep the knees from slipping down. But if you can find the armpits, it's a lovely, lovely place to be. Almost like a Lego piece as we shift our weight into the hands, floating either one foot and then the other. In my home practice, I try to hold it for at least 3 or 4 long, slow breaths. Awesome. Beautiful, Kathy. So Kathy's working the version where she has to hug the midline really hard. And if she hasn't done it in a while, it's
No,
probably...
I was doing it before.
You were doing it before?
Talking
I was talking. That's the thing about a yoga video. When will that yoga teacher quiet down? Those of you that tried Bakasana, I'll invite you to join us in a full squat, if appropriate for your knees, as we drop the weight down. If that's not right for your knees, you're still in your half squat, rocking it from side to side. And then whatever squat you found, I'll invite you to join us in an all fours moment on the floor. And let me adjust the screen again so we have better floor action. From here, let's stretch out our shoulders as we thread the needle. I'll invite you to unfurl the feet. I love that unfurled foot. It's a nice stretch in the ankle. We can stretch right hand high as we spin hard up to the sky. And then on the exhale, we're going to thread the needle as we bring right arm through, the palm faces up. We can walk left hand front as the shoulder comes towards or onto the floor. Maybe the head joins. As we hold this stretch, getting a little longer as we creep that front hand forward, bottom hand with the palm up stretches forward. I'll invite you to stretch your shoulder blades away from the spine and just taking some big breaths into back hard. Now, if you walk that arm long, I'll invite you to walk it back in. As we ground solidly through 5 fingers, let's unthread the needle as we stretch right hand high, lifting heart to the sky, and then finding 10 fingers on the floor as we establish our all fours position. Just taking a breath here, just finding your ease. It's always these little oases in the midst of a yoga practice where you get back on top of your breath. From here, second side, grounding down through that right hand, left hand high as we spin heart to the sky, and then feeding that arm on through, the palm faces up. We can walk the right hand forward as we heavy the shoulder and head down towards the floor, and then holding for a few breaths, just getting a little bit longer. I'll invite you to let that length not just come from the fingers and the hands, but also those shoulder blades moving away from the midpoint as we breathe into back heart. And one more breath here. Now we can walk that long front arm in as we ground solidly through 5 fingers. From that foundation, unthreading the needle as we stretch left hand high, and then grounding down through 10 fingers as we come back to our all fours position. From here, so generally we always bring our feet off to the same side. We just get used to things, left or right, depending on your orientation. So I invite you to identify, if you were to bring your feet off to one side, which side would you go to? For me, generally I go to my left. I'll invite you to go the other way as we examine our patterns of movement. From here, let's do some roll downs and roll ups. Everyone thinks Bakasana or a crane has to do, I spent a lot talking about the orientation and all that, but really the trick to doing the pose is being really strong in your center. So my roll downs and roll ups, my favorite center activity. So we can start from tall spine, make sure you have some space behind you, or neutral spine, back of the head is in line with the sacrum. From here, finding C-spine as we tuck tail and chin and we slowly roll ourselves down. When we get down, we'll suggest full body stretch. Arms by the ears, not too low. We want to keep the ribs soft and drawing in. Breathing in as we point fingers and toes. On the exhale, flexing the feet, flexing the hands, tucking the chin. We can imprint the spine into the mat as we slowly roll ourselves up. When we get to our sit, I'll invite you to stay in C-spine as we point fingers and toes, ribs draw away from the feet, shoulders draw away from the ears as we take a big breath into back heart. On the exhale, staying in C-spine as we flex hands and feet and slowly roll ourselves down. Inhaling, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling ourselves up. Inhaling, staying in C-spine as we reach. Exhaling, rolling ourselves down. Inhaling, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, reach. We're halfway done here. Exhaling, rolling it down. Inhaling, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, reach. 2 more to go. Exhaling, rolling it down. Inhaling, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, reach. 1 more to go. Exhaling, rolling it down. Inhaling, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, reach. And then I'll invite you just to drape yourself over your legs for a very relaxed version of Paschimottanasana, the intense back body stretch. From here, let's do one more exercise with a breath and movement, one of my faves. we'll move between this Paschimottanasana and Purvottanasana modified, which is known as a tabletop. So the chin is tucked. On the inhale, we trace the legs. We bring the hands behind us. We walk the feet in to set up our base. That's on an exhale. And then on your next inhale, we find our tabletop. I'll invite you to let the head fall back as we open up fifth chakra. Now we're going to land our hips right between our hands, long through two legs, arms high to the sky, inhaling. On the exhale, flexing, leading with the heart as we fold. Inhaling, chin is tucked, hands trace the legs. Exhaling, grounding on down as we walk the feet in. Inhaling, lifting up to your tabletop, letting the head fall back. On the exhale, landing the hips right between the hands. On your next inhale, long through the legs, long through the spine, long through the arms. Exhaling, leading with the heart as we fold. So again, cat dog here. Now rounding the spine as we tuck the chin. Rolling ourselves up, hands trace the legs. Hands behind as we set our base, walking the feet in. Inhaling, lifting on up as we let the head fall back. Exhaling, getting the hips to land right between the hands. Inhaling, last one here. Tall, tall, tall. Exhaling, leading with the heart as we fold. Inhaling, hands trace the legs. Exhaling, grounding on down. Inhaling, lifting on up, and let's hold. Exhale. Inhale, lift the hips higher. Exhale and hold. One more inhale, lift those hips higher. On the exhale, landing the hips right between the hands. Inhaling, finding tall, tall spine. Exhaling, swan diving over. And then again, holding your Paschimottanasana as you relax the neck and heavy the head. Now let's do one more fun shape here. As we tuck the chin, hands trace the legs, and let's find Tarasana as we walk. Let me go backwards a little bit. So big external rotation, diamond shape with the legs, the feet don't connect. We can turn Tarasana, named after a green-skinned goddess of compassion, and we'll move towards Kurmasana, the frog pose, another green-skinned goddess or god. I love frogs. And then we're going to feed our arms underneath. We can tilt and find neutral spine as we hinge at the hips. And depending where your back is, you'll either keep neutral spine or you'll take it a little bit further as we round the spine. Relaxing shoulders, heavy head. There's a mantra that goes with this. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And then holding for another 2 or 3 breaths. With every exhale, just letting your inner groin soften into the ground. With every inhale, breathing into back heart. From our Tarasana, I'll invite you to tuck the chin as we unfeed the arms. Let's do the flying V. I think we have enough time. And my watch is over there. I think we do. So either keep catching ankles or peace sign fingers catch the big toes, one of my favorite shapes here. We lift the feet as we start to balance on our tailbone. Either staying here or starting to move towards extension with the legs. Those of you that found extension, or even if you're not quite in full extension, letting the legs widen as we stretch out those inner groins. All roads lead to Rome here, that center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. From here, I'll invite you to find a butterfly in the air. We can land the butterfly, either catching the ankles as the feet press together or using your thumbs to open up your feet like a book. You notice how that opens up the hips. Again, leading with the heart as we fold, and then either keeping neutral spine or letting the spine round. And again, we can find that mantra, that repetitive affirmation. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And then again, holding for another 2 or 3 breaths. With every exhale, letting those groins soften. With every inhale, finding more space in back heart and breathing into that space. God bless you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Now a tuck of the chin as we bring it on up, using our hands to close our knees, keeping the inner thigh soft. One more roll down here, long through two legs as we find tall spine. Finding C-spine as we roll ourselves down. Inhaling, full body stretch. And then sweeping hands by your sides as you widen your thighs, scooting the head back as we flatten the shoulders. Finding our final relaxation pose, our floating on a cloud pose. Tip of the tongue now neutral in the mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through the nose. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you this morning. I'm going to ring my yoga bells 3 times. At home, feel free to stay in floating on a cloud shape for the purposes of this online class or online practice. And Kathy and myself, we're going to cue us out of it, and feel free to follow along with that also. Really up to you. So ringing the bells 3 times. Into this place of ambient silence. I'll invite you to invite more prana, more life force into yourself as you gently wiggle your fingers and toes. And now inviting that prana to move in towards center as we gently circle the wrists and the ankles. Adding a little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shake of the hips, intuitive movement as you lay on the floor, as we connect with our feeling bodies. And a yawn is perfectly appropriate. Now drawing one knee at a time in towards your heart as we move towards Apanasana. Hands catch the shins. And then using your thighs to gently massage your center of balance, your low belly, as you gently lift and lower your low back and hips. Keeping the knees close in, I'll invite you to gently rock your body side to side, releasing and relaxing your hips. Releasing and relaxing your low back. Also, a nice kidney massage here. And then gently rolling to the right side as you stretch long to the right arm. Hanging out there for a breath, letting your arms serve as a pillow for your head. And I'll invite you to let your breath sigh out through your mouth as you soften your shoulders. Relaxing your jaw, softening the corners of your eyes. And then neck relaxed, face soft as you press into your hands to come up and claim a tall sit. Again, I love that cross-legged sit. You could always change the habitual leg is in front, habitual leg in back. Traditionally in yoga, right's a little closer in, left's a little farther out, but for the sake of symmetry, I like to play with that a little bit. Hands find the knees, pulling back with the hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin as 5 fingers of one hand find the floor. The palm of the other hand faces the sky. Ending our practice as we started, watching as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart and bow as you thank yourself for practicing yoga, and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. The light within me honors and respects the light within you. Namaste.
Namaste.
thank you for practicing with us this morning. Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with me. And we'll see you all real soon. So stay tuned as to my online presence on my Facebook page. Next week with the Bay Club, I'm moving to Zoom, and I think that's a free link for a while. So feel free to Zoom.